What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Terry Duran, and this is a segment of Terry's 20 where I just respond to questions that have been submitted to me through my Instagram page at Terry Duran. I got a couple of interesting topics today, so we'll go ahead and get started. If you have a question, feel free to submit your question to me by DM or pay attention. Be on the lookout for my stories where I put up the question and it has a little submit box, and you can submit your question to me that way. All right, so the first question that I have, it says, is it true if a single man doesn't answer his phone after 9 p.m., he's in a relationship? Whenever it comes to like following a rule of thumb, nothing ever applies to all situations. A guy that doesn't answer his phone every single night, no matter what, after 9 p.m., and in most cases that would indicate that he's with somebody or he lives with a woman, or it could be his work, or it could be some other reason. That's something that you could easily discuss with him, but it doesn't automatically indicate that. So don't just automatically make an assumption or jump to a conclusion based off of one particular event. The next question, it says, why do women refuse men to get peace of mind paternity tests? The reason women are offended or against paternity tests is because it implies that they could have possibly been cheating with somebody else, which is always a possibility. And in some cases, it could be the woman knowing that the child is not yours, you know what I mean? So it could expose a lot of women or whatnot, or the women that have doubt and try to place the paternity on the most suitable father, etc. Paternity testing is always going to be a very, very hostile conversation or subject because of the implications that it brings along. And it's usually coming from a man that the woman loves or is in love with or in a relationship with. So for him to even question the possibility of her cheating on him is offensive to some women, even though we all have to deal with the possibility of our spouse cheating on us. Let's see. The next question that I had is, how do you know if a guy you're seeing genuinely likes you? You can tell if somebody genuinely likes you by the amount of effort and energy that they put into you. That doesn't mean that they just telling you what you want to hear. They just telling you how right you are. But you should be able to see if you are talking or interacting with somebody over a period of time. You should be able to see how often they're reaching out to you. How much information do they remember about you? How much do they think about you or do things to let you know that you was on their mind, etc. Those are the type of things that happen when a guy is genuinely interested in a woman. The free time that he does have, the time that he has to do whatever he wants, he's going to try to spend some of that time with the woman he's romantically interested in. Let's see. Do you think that passwords to phones or social media should be provided by boyfriend or girlfriend? No, I do not. I think, especially for people that are boyfriend and girlfriend, you choosing to commit to somebody does not give up your right to privacy. It does not entitle them to be able to go through everything that you have. It does not entitle them to be able to read your messages or everything that you have with your private friends and family members. And the people that feel this way are usually people that have an insecure mindset, where they are distrustful of their spouse and they are fearful that they are going to get cheated on or left. If you feel the need or that it's a requirement that you have to have somebody's password, it's probably an indication that you're not really healthy in a mental space to be in a healthy relationship. Because if you can't trust your partner to actually decline romantic advances or respect your relationship, then you probably shouldn't be in the relationship to begin with. And doing things like this to try to cheat proof your relationship is just something that's going to cause conflict in the future, and it usually leads to more assumptions after the fact, because having somebody's password don't stop cheating. It just leads the person that is going through their phone and stalking them to come up with more assumptions and negative thoughts about what they're doing behind their back. Let's see. Can you change a man's mind when he doesn't want to work on the relationship anymore? It's always possible for people to have a change of heart or change of mind, over time after they get over something that upset them or frustrated them or a fresh breakup. But you can never guarantee the outcome of a dating situation. Once some people make up their mind that they done with somebody, they completely done, and there's nothing you can do about it. Some people can give a second chance or observe changes in the person that caused them to distance themselves in the beginning. So, but there's no guaranteed or no life hack way to guarantee that you're gonna get a second chance. So if you do get a second chance and it's somebody that you actually want to be with, that's why you have to take the opportunity to make adjustments or changes if what you were thinking or doing or the way that you were operating was the cause of the conflict or the reason that they don't want to be with you. All right, let's see. What does it mean to be submissive? Can you give an example? That's a real vague term. When if you ask 10 different people what does it mean, you'll probably get 10 different definitions. And my definitions to be submissive, or for a woman to be submissive to a man, it just means that she respects his leadership and she allows him to use logic and reasoning to help guide the relationship. That doesn't mean that you have to do everything he says. That don't mean he's always right. But a lot of women get in their own way because they are so independent and so headstrong that they won't allow a man to tell them anything. They won't allow a man to criticize anything about them. And people that operate that way can never grow. Somebody criticizing you or telling you about something is not done to hurt you or is done from a place of love should not be met with hostility or resistance. So to be submissive to a man just means that you allow him to be the man in a relationship and allow him to be a man without challenging or trying to criticize everything that he does, or trying to compete with him to be the man in the relationship. Let's see. The next question. A man has a wife and a side. The wife leaves and he moves in with the side for 2 years now. He says he will marry you. What are your thoughts? This sounds like a dysfunctional relationship. A dude moving in with his side chick, doing all this type of stuff. You can never predict what's going to happen. Is it possible that he could marry you and end up happily ever after with you? Yes, it's possible. I would say it's unlikely. It's possible for a man to be torn between two women, especially if he has children by multiple women, etc. So when you're in these type of situations, there ain't no real advice that you can get. It's going to be based on a case-by-case basis. I don't know you. I don't know him. I don't know your situation. So to tell you anything about what's going to happen would be based off nothing but assumptions. I don't know. I don't know what the outcome is going to be. But in this type of situation, it's usually the women that end up being hurt. A dude that's in this type of situation where he's sleeping with multiple women or got multiple baby mamas, etc., even if both of y'all cut him off, he'll still be able to find another woman to date, and he'll still be able to consistently get time, attention, and sex, which is primarily what men care about when it comes to dating. So you are more likely to end up hurt in this situation, so you might want to proceed with caution. Next question, it says, is it proactive to ask a man this question? If we were to be a thing, do you think it'll work? I think whenever women ask these kind of questions where there's no right answer, or you're asking a man to tell you something about the future when he don't got a time machine and he don't know the future, what you're essentially doing is just asking to be lied to. You're putting a platter out there for somebody to tell you what you want to hear. Obviously, if two people get in a committed relationship, nobody plans on getting in a relationship planning on breaking up. So the assumption is they had to like something about you enough or feel that you were compatible enough to commit or get into the relationship in the first place. That's under the assumption that you didn't try to trick him or coerce him or try to force him into the relationship. Most men that get in a committed relationship of their own willingness are doing so with the intent of making it work. So I don't think a question like this is necessary. I don't think that you benefit from it. I mean, what do you expect them to say? No, I don't think it'd work out if we ended up together. Like, that's not a realistic expectation either. So he's in a bad spot where there ain't no good way to answer it. If he tells you that, yeah, I think we'd be together forever, and then you don't, you know what I'm saying, you can hit him with the "you led me on" or "you misled me" type of response, which is very typical when relationships sour. Let's see. It says, an ex brought his new girl to my party last month, and he wants to bring her to a dinner I am hosting. Okay, so if you are interacting with your ex and y'all are just friends, or y'all trying to be platonic, y'all no longer involved, and you inviting him to stuff that people can bring a guest to, that really ain't your business who he bring. He's your ex. That don't mean he's not disrespecting you. If you don't want him around, don't bring him. I mean, don't invite him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so if you are having an issue with him bringing another woman around, to me, that indicates that you still hung up on your ex. He's obviously moved on. He's obviously comfortable enough bringing another woman around you. It's making you feel some type of way because of the feelings that you still have towards your ex. There's not anything disrespectful about that. If a couple breaks up and they agree to be cordial or social or whatnot, if one of them gets remarried or has a baby with another person, it's not disrespectful for them to bring them around. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. If you cannot handle them seeing your ex with another person, don't invite them around. That's a very simple fix. Let's see. This says, I got one. This was a long thread, but it was one question that she asked up front. It says, is cheating on a pregnant girlfriend love? What is that? Now, that's one of those kind of questions where women kind of are in their feelings and they just ask a bunch of, why was this? Well, first of all, cheating and love are two completely different things. But there is a bunch of people that believe in this kind of hopeless romantic view of love, where love will prevent cheating and love will you won't be able to see anybody besides your spouse, and that's total bullshit. Cheating, especially from a male perspective, is usually done for pleasure or sexual satisfaction. It does not have anything to do with love. The only time men connect sex and love is when they're having sex with a woman that they already love or care about. So a woman, cheating on your pregnant girlfriend, that's no different than cheating on your girlfriend. Yeah, it's more significant because y'all's relationship is more significant. Y'all are going to be parents together or whatnot, but the act of cheating is still just a sexual act from a male perspective. So it doesn't mean anything extra just because you're pregnant. There's a lot of logical reasons for it. Most women that go through a pregnancy, most men don't find that to be very attractive. It could be loving and have sentimental value because that's you think that's your child, or you believe that's your child or whatnot. But logically speaking, the way that the reason that women bounce back and have to get back in shape is because pregnancy causes women to be shaped in a way that a lot of men don't find attractive, right? There are a lot of complications with sex that can make a man's sexual desire towards his woman decrease. So cheating during a pregnancy is something that happens regularly, just like all other forms of cheating is. So from a male perspective, it doesn't mean anything extra just because the girlfriend is pregnant. It would be no different than a man cheating because he was missing something out of a relationship and you wasn't pregnant. Let's see. All right, this was a post that was sent. It was a meme. And so it says, I recently went on a date with a nice woman. We had dinner, drinks, and a great conversation. As the waiter brought our bill, my date asked me, could I buy 2 takeout dinners for her kids? I said no because I don't even know her kids. She had an attitude for the rest of the night, so I cut the date short. Question, was I wrong for not buying her kids I've never met dinner? And was she asking for too much too soon? No, I don't feel the man was wrong for declining her offer to buy her to-go plates for her kids. A woman that would go out on a date with a man without making sure that her children are taken care of and fed and bathed or whatever they need to be, that's an indication on her motherhood to me. And to me, that should be a major red flag for a man to discontinue dating this type of woman. But if it would be different if a woman just said, hey, you know, she explained her situation to you and didn't spring it on you at the last, like put you on the spot while you paying for the bill. A woman letting you know up front that she's doing bad or whatever the case may be, I gotta figure, like she could have taken her food to go and fed her children with that. Like she's already not paying for the meal. So to ask for 2 additional meals on top of that seems to be asking too much, especially if it's somebody that you just started kicking it with. Now, if a woman needed to feed her kids, if that's the goal, right? Couldn't she say something? I could envision a woman being broke or something like, man, do you mind stopping at McDonald's and grabbing 2 Happy Meals for my kids because my account's negative, or whatever the case may be. Asking a man at a nice restaurant to buy your kids 2 to-go meals from a nice restaurant just out the blue, I don't think a lot of women would stoop to that level and do that, and I think it's a woman overstepping her bounds. So I think most guys would actually cut a woman off for something like that. Let's see. This was a question asking, well, it was basically a woman saying that she's been in a relationship and the sex has pretty much evaporated. And so she says that she's tried to be very understanding, but I don't know what led to the change in intimacy wise, because my needs are not being met. How do you approach him on the topic without him feeling like I'm attacking him? I don't think there's really a good way to approach issues where you're not sexually satisfied or you're unhappy with the sex and romance in a relationship. That's an extremely sensitive subject. So whenever you present somebody with the, hey, you're not doing this good enough, or I don't like the way you're doing it, even if you come to them in the most pleasant tone and you know, etc., the word choice is perfect, everything, it's still going to hit a nerve and rub people the wrong way. In a lot of cases, this can indicate this is could be a side effect of cheating. So it could spark some guilt or some hostile responses, you know, like, we ain't had sex in a while. Well, you know, like, this could go a whole bunch of different ways. So I don't know if there's a best way to present it. Perhaps you could try something like sending an email where you can explain the situation and you can provide a long explanation where they're not hearing it verbally, so that maybe he could read the email and respond in a way where it helps minimize the feelings or the negative response. But I just take the most simple approach. Try to start it out with compliments and the positives like you did, and then go into, I'm not being happy, my needs are not being met, and then I would recommend you explain some suggestions on things that you could do to help improve or help facilitate the situation. Let's see. This is another meme that was sent to me. It says, when she gives you hints, take them. Unpopular opinion. If you got to ask for a ring, it ain't special anymore. And now, whenever you see a woman campaigning and being passive aggressive about getting a ring or getting a proposal, to me that's usually an indication of a woman that's desperate to be a bride or desperate to have a wedding. That's usually not a woman that's in a mental state or in the right frame of mind to actually be a good wife / mother. So whenever you see these women that are on social media campaigning for a ring and doing things about their ring finger and all these type of things, and you know, posting stuff about getting a ring, that's more of an indication of a woman that just wants to have a wedding, wants to be able to brag about and flaunt her ring to social media, wants to be able to have the pictures to, you know what I'm saying, like to be able to brag about all the positives that come around being married and the festivities. But those are usually the women that are not equipped to be good wives long term anyway. So no, I don't think a woman has to campaign to get a ring. Usually a woman that does that that's a red flag from a male perspective. You definitely don't want to be proposing to a chick that's just anxious to be married, which a lot of women are. Let's see. So this is a quote that said, I read a lot of your posts about men cheating. However, they are mostly about sex or physical cheating. My fiance and I have been together for 3 years. He recently changed careers and works around lots of women, where he previously never used to. He was texting, Snapchatting a woman from his work inappropriate things. He has kissed her forehead, even said, I love you. Their fling only lasted about 3 weeks before I find out. Why would he be telling her he loved her? Can a relationship ever come back after cheating? All right, that was a lot, to unpackage in that question, but that's not the worst thing in the world that could ever happen. People in a work environment spend more time together than people do with their families. And so if he's starting a new environment where he's around women that it's a new situation for him, he's going to likely have some struggles, especially if he's not completely happy in the relationship, or there are needs that he has that may not be getting met. As far as them catching feelings and their interactions, the whole concept of having private conversations with people creates a sense of bonding with that person. It's a kind of us against the world, especially if they with somebody else too, where everything that y'all got to do got to be a secret, and y'all got to delete the text, and it's inside jokes and inside conversations. That creates a euphoric sense of like love, or being in love, or falling for a person. So that is typical in those type of situations where you have work bae or work romances, or people that you can just vibe with or relate to at the workplace. So your second question, is it possible to get over cheating? Yes, it's possible. Both people have to be willing to figure out what caused the cheating in the first place and make alterations or changes so that it doesn't happen again in the future. But it's always possible to rebuild the trust and change the circumstances that led to the cheating. It requires some very tough conversations, some very unpleasant conversations, but it is possible if you are both serious about making the relationship work. As far as him being able to interact with other women, you're not going to be able to tell him who he can and can't talk to. You're not going to be able to control what he does. So if you can't trust him to respect the relationship, that's a sign that you probably need to leave the relationship. So I wouldn't recommend you going trying to give him a list of rules and all this type of stuff, like you're actually about to dictate what he can do. That's just going to cause more problems in the future. So thanks to everybody that submitted their questions. This has been another segment of Terry's 20. Hopefully y'all learned something and got some insight from the perspective. Thanks for tuning in.